Hello and welcome to Run Testers. My name's Nick and this is our first run review of the New Balance FuelCell SuperComp Pacer V2. So the SC Pacer V2 is the lower stack racing shoe within the New Balance range that sits below the SC Elite V4. It is the successor to the Pacer V1, which was even more low stack and really had the feel almost of a racing flat. With the second version, New Balance has increased the stack height and given it an all-new midsole foam that's made from the same PIBA foam that's in the SC Elite V4. The Pacer V2 costs £180 or $200, weighs in at 216 grams or 7.6 ounces. It's got an 8mm drop from heel to toe. Stack height I've seen online, it says it's 32.8mm at the heel and 24.8mm at the forefoot, and according to Believe in the Run, that's the exact stack height for Emily Sisson's version of the shoe, so that will vary slightly depending on your size compared to hers. So as mentioned, this is the slightly lighter, more grounded racing shoe within the New Balance lineup, and it has jumped in stack height though compared to the original by about 4 or 5mm. That's also increased the weight slightly, but not too much because you've got the new PIBA based version of the fuel cell foam in the midsole, which is a bit softer and bouncier than the fuel cell used in the original Pacer V1. This is the same PIBA foam that's in the SC Elite V4. It's 100% PIBA. It's not the blender foams that you have on some of New Balance's other shoes like the Rebel V4. You have the Energy Arc carbon plate running through the midsole of the shoe, which you can see from the cutout below there. You've got a very lightweight single layer engineered mesh upper, not much padding at all. You've got a little bit of an internal heel counter at the back of the shoe there, but not much padding at all there. And then you've got pretty good rubber coverage. I'd say the forefoot's pretty well covered, and there's 2 strips of rubber at the back. And it's actually quite a thick layer of rubber, which was a little bit surprising to me given that this is a lightweight racing shoe, very much focused on keeping the weight down in general, but that's good obviously for durability, and the grip looks pretty good as well. So it comes to the fit of the shoe. I found it quite tight fitting around the toes. Now this has happened to me with some other New Balance shoes in the past, especially at the racy end of things. I found it actually was the case with the Pacer V1 and indeed a few other shoes like the original Rebel, the original RC Elite V1, and hasn't really been the case of the other shoes in this current generation that New Balance has. So with the SC Elite V4, I didn't really find that in my normal size, but this one does come up a bit tight around the toes. Wasn't really a problem for me today on the run. I did about 16k, 10 miles, and although it is quite a close fit, and maybe if I was looking like a marathon, I'd probably want a bit more room. I'd say I quite like a dialed in fit for shorter races, and although it is probably technically too small, I didn't mind it very much. But definitely if you are, on the larger end for your size, I'd look at going a half a size up because yeah, it will be quite close fitting around the toes for sure. Now, I did see a lot of people having problems with the heel design on the shoe. When I was looking at reviews online, it was cutting up their Achilles. This heel counter is a little bit odd, surprisingly rigid for a racing shoe like this. Normally, I'd expect it to be really flexible at the back there. I didn't have any problems myself, I'd say, on the run today. Like, maybe you could feel a little bit of rubbing on my right foot by the end of the run, but maybe just because I was thinking about it, because I've seen it in other reviews. Can heel lock the shoe to try and avoid that as well. And this was a big problem with people with the SC Elite V4 as well, but I didn't have that problem. So I tend to get on, it seems, with the New Balance heel design, but if you have had problems with it in the past, it does sound like it's something to look out for with the Pacer V2 as well. Could be some Achilles rubbing. Good morning from London. I'm about to head out and do my first run in the New Balance SC Pacer V2. Got a pretty bright and breezy workout today. It's Wednesday today. I'm racing Saturday, so this is like a pre-race workout. I'm going to be doing 2 1-mile reps at around 5:30 per mile pace, and then 10 times, 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Pretty relaxed mile reps. That's slower than the half marathon pace I'll be hoping to run on a Saturday, and then probably looking at around 5k intensity for the 10 times 60 seconds on. A nice test of the shoes. I'm really looking forward to testing this one out and see how it compares to the other New Balance shoes, but also kind of lightweight, higher stack carbon shoes like the Asics Metaspeed range or even the new On Cloudboom Strike LS. Wasn't a huge fan of the original New Balance Pacer just because it was quite flat and firm and didn't really give you the feeling that you're running in a super shoe, even compared to the other low stack shoes like Takumi Sen. So I'm hoping this will be a bit of an upgrade with the extra stack and the PIBA foam you have now. So, got back from the run earlier today. I couldn't film just after the run. Everything was just too chaotic. But yeah, it was a pretty good run out in the sun. I enjoyed myself, hit the paces quite comfortably on the miles, and then was running at around just over, I think, 3 minutes per K pace on those 60-second kind of strides. Nice loosener for the race ahead on Saturday, and also a good chance to test the shoe at a couple of different race paces for me. So it's definitely a lot more comfortable than the original Pacer, as you'd expect just by looking at them. You've got a lot more cushioning underfoot, and that really does tell. You've got more bounce. It feels much more like a super shoe. The Pacer felt more like a racing flat, and that was fun. It was fun to run in sometimes, but it beat up your legs a bit more. You didn't really feel like you were getting the punch that you get from a shoe like this, which does feel very close to a full stack super shoe underfoot. Like, you know, it is slightly lower stack, but I didn't really notice that much on the run. It just feels like a firmer super shoe than some others, and that might be down to the way the plate's situated as much as the actual stack height. You definitely have a firmer feel than the SE Elite V4, but it wasn't at all harsh. At the end of the run today, like, I had no kind of discomfort or anything like that underfoot, having, you know, like I say, a run around 16k, 10 miles, some fast sections in that. Yeah, it does feel really good. It feels like a very snappy, fast transition as well. Like, it's not really a very cruisy shoe. So when I was doing those kind of mile reps, that's much more kind of cruising speed for me, like cruising race speed. And in another super shoe, I kind of bounced merrily through that. It felt like I was running a bit harder in this shoe, not necessarily actually running hard in terms of the effort involved, but I could feel the speed a bit more in a shoe like this, snapping through and hitting that forefoot. And, you know, it's not as springy and bouncy as though some of the other shoes in the lineup, like I say, because it's got that firmer feel, but it definitely still felt very fast. And then it had a nice lightweight pickup and turnover when I was doing those kind of 60 seconds on, 30 seconds off. You know, it isn't as nimble as some of the shoes in this category though. Like, it doesn't feel like the original Pacer or something like the Adidas Takumi Sen, which are quite narrow, as well as being, you know, slightly lower stack than full super shoes. And that really tells. You do like a 60-second pickup in those shoes, it feels amazing, because it really is just turning your feet over, you know, basically a stride. A shoe like this, you feel a bit more of the shoe beneath you. You feel that width, and that's good in terms of overall comfort, but it doesn't feel quite as nimble and aggressive as those shoes. But it certainly felt good at those two different kind of race paces today. And then I got back and did a short run wearing it on one foot and the SC Elite V4 on the other. And it's remarkable how much deeper and springier this shoe feels actually, because like I say, the stack heights are different, but still a lot of springy foam in the Pacer as well. But actually, yeah, even just over a short run, you can really feel how much deeper you sink into the shoe and the bounce you get back and the kind of cush there. And yeah, it is a different feeling all round. The natural thing would probably be to line this up as a marathon racer as a result, and this is a short distance racer, but for me, I don't necessarily think it will be like that. It'll probably be more on the kind of feel you prefer. This is a heavier shoe, more of a cruiser. You can really sink in and get a load of bounce back. It really feels very good and effortless running. I did actually, when I was testing this shoe, a session where I was running 5:30 miles and felt very cruisy in this shoe. Like I say, it doesn't feel as cruisy in this shoe, but you're still running that speed and you can feel that pace beneath you. And maybe the firmer feel you get here is more just a case of the preference that some people might have. It, you know, it's a slightly different feeling to lots of super shoes out there, including the SC Elite V4, which have veered much more towards that very soft and springy design. Got a bit more feel for the ground beneath you with this, and it still feels very fast. So yeah, there's a slightly different option there. Overall, I'll have a lot more run to do before I deliver any kind of full verdict on this shoe, but it's a shoe at the moment I think I like a lot more in design and paper than necessarily I think would really work for me that well on the run. I love the design of the shoe. I think it's really cool. I love the idea of the slightly lower stack, the firmer feeling. And actually, when I tested the SC Elite V4, I really felt that New Balance's foam is so soft and spongy and fit. Like, it didn't quite work for me on a big shoe like that, but I thought it would work really well for me on a shoe like this. And it did work well for me today. I really liked and enjoyed the run today, but it's not something that really blew me away or will stand out, I think, in the world of super shoes we have out there. And I think it's a little bit caught between a rock and a hard place potentially, because, you know, it will be seen as not a full stack racing shoe. It's not as comfortable as those racing shoes, but it's not actually extremely lightweight. And there are certainly shoes that offer a bit more cush and kind of that feeling underfoot whilst being lighter. Like, obviously the Asics Metaspeed Edge and Sky Paris are both under 200 grams in the same size. The new On Cloudboom Strike LS is as well. The Vaporfly is a bit lighter, and so, you know, in that case, if you want that nimble, lightweight, low stack feeling, you want it to be a really lightweight shoe, and something like the Takumi Sen, which does feel quite different to those racers, whereas this feels pretty much like a full stack racer, just a slightly firmer one. Now, that I think is an interesting niche to occupy in the market. There will be some demand for that, especially with lots of super shoes trending towards more soft designs, I think, these days. There may be even a slight case here that it feels a bit like the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, which obviously lots of people like more than the Vaporfly 3, but, you know, I'm not sure if you're going to get quite the performance that I think I get from the Vaporfly 3. But yeah, like I say, there's loads more runs to do. Really love the look and the idea of the shoe, but whether he stands out from a performance angle, I think it's going to be hard to do that with its overall design. But it did feel like a good shoe today, and I think it will suit some people's preferences for that slightly firmer feeling. And it is an absolute dynamite looking shoe that, yeah, maybe will really come to life in a few more runs. So certainly one that I'll be testing a lot more, and I want to try and get a race in as well to see how it feels for that. That's our first look at the New Balance SC Pacer V2. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Please do like and subscribe, ring the little bell, and we'll see you next time.